Happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy, 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 happy anniversary.
Happy, 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 happy anniversary! Happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary.
Woo! Okay, now you have to explain why we're singing happy
always saying
anniversary.
that. I used to do murder mysteries in like mansions, like live games of Clue, improv shows, on boat shows, and then like we did the mob show in like a Italian restaurant in the North End in Boston. And
so fun.
always there would be somebody with an anniversary, and we always needed to get those done, like birthdays and anniversaries, before we had to serve the salads, because your actors are also your wait staff.
Was it like okay, how fast can we say it this time?
Yeah, it was always.
And then
was
who
always
can sing it
hilarious.
faster?
Yeah.
It's like, let's one up ourselves the next time. Yeah.
And it
So
is our
this is
anniversary.
It's our anniversary show.
I should have gotten you a corsage.
It's been a year. Aw, I know, we should have.
Little corsage. One
I'm okay.
year.
I'm not a gift
All right.
person.
Cheers
I'm more of
for
a
1 year.
quality time. Cheers.
Woo, yay.
There is not vodka in this. It is all straight coffee.
I don't drink at all. Coffee is my spirit animal.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's 1 year since we started the Jess and Shell Real Talk Tuesdays, which we wanted to talk this episode about kind of like
The year.
yeah, and like what prompted us to do this, and like what we've learned, and just anything, because about like anytime you take on something new, that's like for us, this was something, I know for me, this is something I had wanted to do for years before. And I knew Jess, and like I knew you before we met, and then we met at VO Atlanta. Like I don't know why I knew you, but I knew you on social media. I knew you because when we met, it was like, oh, Jess, like we already knew
right.
each other.
Yeah.
And then we like instantly clicked as like, it was like, oh, meeting in person, right? And then it took like 4
You know
more
how like
years.
meeting someone in person is like you either have more of a connection
Right.
or you're like,
oh
yeah, no. No, nope, something's off.
And I liked Jess already. And then I liked her even more.
And I liked you back.
And I liked you, and then I liked you more. And then and then it was a couple years after that I was like, I kind of reached out to you. I'd been having this idea of doing this thing, and Jess is so creative. We're both so creative, and Jess is similar creative, but
in different ways. Yeah,
exactly, different ways, but both really creative people. And she's always on to like, I'm going to try this, or I'm going to start this. Like she's a doer and like someone that tries to get things done, and like you're just like, I admire a lot of the qualities you have. And then I was like, I think I was the one who brought up this idea, right?
I think so. And I was kind of at the point where like, yes, let's
try that.
Let's do this. And usually I'm like, yes, let's do everything. And then 2 months into it, I'm like, I don't know what I just signed up for.
What was I thinking?
This is so much work. This is not what I expected. And then I spend 2 more months backpedaling. Right?
This is honest talk, people. And this is similar. Yeah. No, I get it.
Yeah, it's easy to say yes. So I'm learning to say no more now, but protecting your time.
Right.
And yeah.
I love not being by myself, but being with another person and bantering. And like I love when I'm like a guest on a podcast and we can talk. And like, I just love that, like, the human interact. It's very funny because that's me as a person. That's my brand. Everything is very like that intimate, real, natural. Not everything goes back to that's my brand actually, because that's who I am. My brand is me, which is just very authentic, very imperfect, very real, and just not polished, I guess. And I wanted to create something that might bring some insights into the world that I love so much, in the VO world, or creative professional world, of just like some like things that like have helped me, and like maybe bring on some, talk about our gear, bring on some guests, talk about imposter syndrome, talk about manifestation, talk about the things I think about, but with somebody that I had a really good rapport with and a good banter with. Something I always wanted to do, but I just always, again, because of imposter syndrome, I stopped myself from doing.
Yeah.
I'm 55 this year. It's like, I don't want to I'm getting sick of like stopping myself. I was, we can put it in the show notes, but I was watching Mel Robbins, something she talked about that people like 15, 20 years, they have something they put in this like thing and they never do it. And that's so me. And I'm just trying to be like, screw it. I'm doing these things, like putting things out there that I want to create. And, and it's hard because there's a lot of imposter syndrome and fear, and, they're hard to start things and reasons, but there was like all this, like, nobody's going to care, nobody's going to watch it, all these, all those feelings. And then I kind of get to the point where I'm like, And my husband always says this, who cares? What if Jess and you just have fun? What if one person watches it
Yeah.
and they get something out of it? Who cares? If you want to try it, you should try it. And I was like, okay. And I like, all right, I'm going to try it, even though it's scary. Not like we have a ton of subscribers, but it's
And
like, I don't
and that's
care.
okay.
Yeah.
Like I love each and every one who has taken the time to watch or
Yes.
time
Yes.
to respond or time to
Yes.
say, "Yes, I would love to be on your show."
Exactly.
It's
And we've
not
had
like
some wonderful people on that were
we
like that,
have.
amazing. But so tell me what your thought was when
When you asked, yeah, I think I was at the point where like I wanted to do something creative as well, and I've always had this idea of I just want to maybe start my own podcast. But then when I started my own podcast, it was like me in front of a microphone, and I'm like, what do I have to say
yeah.
that's gonna move the needle for someone to help someone, like inspire someone, or help them be more creative, or I don't know, like what can I say that's different than anybody else?
Mm-hmm.
And how like does it matter? And then the imposter syndrome, right?
So,
Like
yep.
I've always been in a position where I start something, like I was one of the first people on Twitter, and it was like you didn't know that it was this huge opportunity, but like I didn't do it right. You know, like I didn't know how to market. I didn't know how to sell myself. And so like things go on and all the people I was friends with become these like major coaches and major, all these things and
Yeah.
like 6-figure, 7-figure income. And I'm like, what? I mean,
Wait a minute.
I'm just trying to be authentic here and talk. And like, you're turning this into a
Right.
profit. And so I think that's why I loved the idea of working with you is because we literally do not make a profit off of this.
There's been feedback from people saying, I love that there's nothing on your show trying to sell anything. There's no sponsors. There's no anything but you guys talking or you guys interviewing somebody. There's nothing trying to sell you something, right?
Yeah.
Haven't you gotten that feedback too? I know you have.
Yes, which is a refreshing feeling, right? Like
Yes.
I'm
Safe
so
place.
over it's a safe place.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna bring you honest conversations. And I
Yep.
think we had the VO booth besties on
Yeah,
too. And
they'd
that
be
was their
similar.
whole thing. They're
Yep.
like, we're not trying to sell these things. Like we're just trying to have conversations, and our industry keeps changing overnight and we're trying to figure it out.
Up
And
with
so
it. Yep.
instead of just being in our own head, it's nice to be able to like talk back and forth and joke about it or
Yeah.
so I think that's part of why I love doing this is just having those authentic conversations and connecting with people and not having like this money piece as a part of it.
Like that
And
pressure of anything.
and I'll be honest, like there's part of me I was like, but what if it was? Like what if we could figure this out because, it's been a rough year, so can we maybe make this profitable? And I'm
Right.
like, no, that would change the dynamic. It would change the feeling of why we're doing this.
Yeah. And every
So,
time you'd even like that would come up in a conversation with us, you'd bring that up and we both kind of come back to like, that's not
doesn't
why we
feel
did
right.
this. It doesn't feel right.
No.
That's not why we did this and everything and stuff. So I wrote down like, what have I learned? Also like the technical stuff and then just like, I just want to like say for me, like I said, I admire a lot of things about you as a person and you as my co-host. And I just have fun with you. Like, and I consider you a good friend, who I can share stuff with. And I just am grateful for you as a human being, as well as a colleague and a friend and somebody who just, makes me better, in certain ways. And I just enjoy you too. We have fun, we have different things. We have some few views that are very similar, some views that are very different. We're very different people, but we're very respectful of each other and really care about each other and treat each other with that respect. And that, and I think that, and we're both about service and, and I think that is, our part of our shared stuff that keeps us, good. And that's why we work so well together, I think.
I think so too. Yeah. And I appreciate you being able to like just bring in a lot of fun to this because I always take things I can take things too seriously and take things to business. It's got to look perfect. It's got to be, this whole package deal and how can we make it better? And I love that you're like, you know what, let's just be ourselves. Let's be authentic. Like, let's let's bring it down a little bit.
Right. Well, yeah, because remember I was going to
Right?
start this with another person a while back, and they wanted it to be very like perfect and polished, and and I immediately shut down because that immediately makes me go, that's too much,
I'm just
right?
never gonna
Yeah, I'm never going to do
amount.
this if that's what it's got to be. And then, so that's why I was
Yeah.
like, even when we first met, I was, and we our first pictures on our like logo, I was like, I don't want your headshot. Like, take a selfie of yourself. Like, I want it to be
Right.
very real. And so our original like visuals of our things were just us like that. We've recently
Our
revamped
phones.
it. Yeah,
We
literally.
did our
Yeah,
phones.
yeah. They weren't like fancy pictures, and that was kind of
Yeah.
intentional in my brain of like, I wanted it. And actually, the ones that are on there now, I know mine is also a selfie, but you
I think
added,
mine's a selfie.
but you
Yeah.
made
Well,
my
I
lips
changed the
red.
background and I made your lips red. You're like, I'll
Yes.
like that picture if you can make
Yeah,
my
yeah,
lips red
exactly.
because you normally would put
Yeah.
red lipstick on. And I was
Yes.
like, I'm pretty sure I can do that. And I don't know what program I
Yeah,
use
yeah.
for
I'm a creature
your
of
lips.
habit, and I know what I know, and I get really afraid of new stuff. And Jess is very like, let's try this, and I
I'll
can do it
try
this. Yeah,
everything.
she's much better than me technically, and in certain ways, like that. She'll just try things, and how you bring stuff into like, I don't know, whatever, chat, one of those things to like figure out the
Oh my
text
gosh.
and stuff.
Show notes. And
Yeah,
you mean like, yeah, I totally use
I don't
ChatGPT
know how to do
to
any of this
help
stuff.
get, and I use Descript, and we're using Squadcast to edit.
Yeah.
So having a workflow to be able to take these conversations, put it into a transcript, get all the show notes so people know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're like, okay, I need to do this. I've got 30 minutes and then I'm off to a junior high
Right.
volleyball game, you
Right,
know?
right, right, right. Yeah. And I mean, and that's the other thing, like what I've learned this past year is like, even though this isn't a profit maker and it's just a creative project, it does take up our
A
time.
lot of time.
Like,
Mhm.
yeah, originally I was doing all the editing of the videos, and then more recently we moved to Squadcast, and then Jess has kind of been editing, and then I'll add it sometimes too.
Just for a quicker workflow, but then I love that you can take and edit it even more and
Yeah.
refine it.
hmm So
It's
like we
awesome.
both and she's really good at coming up with, I mean, Jess is so much better than me about like SEO and like what you put for the titles and like all the words and the keywords and the links and like all that stuff. I'm just like, I don't know. Like, but I'm good at like the visual of like editing and like, okay, let's switch from this to that and like add in a picture and like, so we both have different strengths, luckily, that we bring to the table. It's not like, okay, neither one of us know how to do that editing. Who are we gonna, we're gonna have to outsource that or whatever. Like we both have pieces that we bring to the table. Both
Yeah.
have our strengths. For the first like 6 months or whatever, we had tons of stuff, tons of topics to talk about, and then you kind of get to a point where you're like, oh, shoot, what
We already
topics?
covered that.
Yeah, we already covered that. And then, bringing on guests is great, but that's coordination and like reaching out to
Hmm.
people and coordinating schedules of like all the people and Jess and myself. And it's a lot. Basically, the whole thing in its entirety is a lot of work. And, so I said to Jess, I was like, I think we're going to do like, I can't believe it, but we're going to make it to a year. And then we're going to talk about
You
it.
said this in maybe October. I want to say it was like late summer, early fall. And I'm kind of like on this ride. I was like, I don't know where we're going, but this is fun, like road trip. And you're like, I'm just trying to make this a year. Like
Yeah.
I'm trying to, and I was like, oh, I didn't even think about like making that a goal. I just thought when we're done, we're done. And you're like, we're going to get,
I was
one
committing to a year.
episode
Yeah.
a week until April, till the end of April. And I
Yeah.
thought, one episode a week until the end of April.
For a month.
Oh my gosh,
It's
that's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you added them up,
That's
you
a
were like,
lot.
oh. And coming up with
Yeah.
things for that, from then on to now has been like, okay, and
It's
we've
been
done it.
challenging
It's been
and
challenging.
fun and
Yeah.
brain, like it just, it
Yes,
pushes
both.
us beyond,
Yeah.
what.
Yeah. So we're not sure what this means going forward. It's funny, we posted some recap of like half of the guests, and next week we're going to be doing the other half. And it's like,
Or we already did.
yeah, at this
By the
point, when
time
you
this
hear
comes
this,
out, we
it'll have
should
already
have part,
been, yeah, we
kind of
just,
part one and part
right,
two.
yeah, we just posted part one and part
Yeah.
two. And now it's like, of the guests we had, and now we're kind of like, okay, now that we're at the year, what does this look like going forward? But like a lot of people are like, oh, keep going. You know, we love you thing. Can't wait to see next season. And we're both like, oh, like,
Are you
are you
watching, or
watching
are you
it?
just are you watching this, or
Are
are
you
you just
actually
being
encouraging?
encouraging
Yeah, yeah.
like,
We
yay,
appreciate you either way, but
cheerleader?
we're not sure. So the truth is, the
Right.
real is that we're not sure, but we think we're gonna maybe do this like do one once a month instead of once a week. But we need to take a little breather. So we're thinking we're gonna do once a month. Maybe we do two a month. I don't know. We don't know how this is gonna land
I
out.
know we'll do better at marketing things before we release the episode because there's so many great little clips,
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
from guests and stuff
And
and people's attention spans are like 12
right,
seconds or 6 seconds or
right.
whatever. So
Well, and also I wanted to go back and go over the year, like, and go back to episode one, you know, like, and kind of maybe on like a Friday, like flashback Friday kind of thing, and show some clips from, because a lot of people that know me now, never, when they talk to me, they'll like an episode and I'll be like, oh, did you see the one on blah, blah, blah? Because we talk about it and they're like, oh no. And they haven't seen the previous
yeah,
episodes. So like, I don't feel like, because when we were starting to build it, I don't think people really saw it. So I feel like there was some in the
sure.
beginning that didn't get seen. And even yeah, so I think I might do like a whatever you call it, like a rerun Friday. That's not a thing, but yeah, you know what I mean, that kind of thing of like
Right.
showing back old episodes. But so I mean, I think right now the truth is we're probably gonna be doing once a month going forward. And then we don't know.
Can I just do a little shout out to Michael Clark because he's the one who really reached out and I was like, I don't know, I think we're going to be done. Like I think we're going to wrap this up in April. And he was like, "What?
What?
What?" Ah. And we're like, "Well, then why don't you be on our show?"
Yes,
And
and
so he
he
came on the show and it was fantastic. It
and
was
his
so
episode is
helpful.
like his episode has really resonated with people. It's gotten one of the most views. And it's like resonated with people because he's like newer voiceover and he's killing it and he's really real and he works so
He's
hard.
got a captivating personality, right?
Yes,
He's just
yes,
got a lot of things going on in his brain and he's not afraid to share it all.
yes.
And it might work for some people, it might not, but like
But
here's
he was
what
an
he's doing
interesting
and what's working.
guest.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah. I've had people reach out too, like that they really enjoy it, and it's just like, and that my heart is like, that's all I wanted, right? I just wanted somebody to have seen it
To
and
be helped,
be
like,
helped by it, yeah, or
yeah,
feel understood, or oh, like, oh, I feel that way too, or we
yeah.
don't sugarcoat anything on here. We don't like make anything shiny. There's no shiny. There is
There's,
nothing
there's no
except
that's pretty shiny.
which we had on the Ellie Ray episode. I don't know what number, but you should go back and
It
see that.
doesn't have a number, yeah.
Ellie Ray was on one of our things. We had Tracy Lindley and her kids. We had Mark Scott. We've had so many amazing
Eric
people on
Holloway
here.
was on,
Yeah,
Tracy
yeah. I
or
mean,
Tina Perkins,
yeah,
and we can't name everybody
yeah,
because
yeah.
then I will feel bad
Yeah, then you'll
forgetting.
feel bad. They're all amazing in their own right, right? You know, Rhonda
Mhm.
Phillip. Anyway, I can't. I just stop.
I know, yeah. Do we have to do a shout out list? I
No,
do
no,
have
no,
a
no.
shout out. Okay.
Anyway, you should go back and watch some. And again,
Yeah.
I might be putting those on a rerun Friday. But so we first of all we appreciate all the people who have reached out and all the people who have watched our little basic show here. And we wanted to explain like why we started it and what that was about and just kind of like what our experience has been.
Yeah,
And
in the process and what we're thinking maybe for the future.
yeah,
And I think one thing that I really wish was I wouldn't say different, but like moving forward, let's dream a little bit, brainstorm moving forward here. I feed off of questions or I feed
yes,
off of people's thoughts. And so it's really hard. And that's why what I think you and I can go back and forth, but like we only have like our two little minds working together. Like we'd love to have more ideas and comments and like what do you want us to talk about? Do
yes,
we want to do like a live workshop where we talk with maybe one or two new voiceover artists and we say come on the show, let's do a couple reads and like
yeah,
draw some things out of them
yeah.
or
What, right? If you give us like what you want to talk about, Jess and I can talk about.
we'll talk about almost
We can talk
anything.
about anything for way
And
too long.
right?
Like ask us questions, like, and so if actually people did ask questions or ask for like, could you talk about this subject? We would
That's
be
what it
on that
was.
in a heartbeat.
That's what I was gonna. Yes, that's what I was gonna say. Does it have to be related to voiceover? Do we talk about other things? But we also know that there's a lot of people who are interested in voiceover watching this, and we want to keep it that too. So we're just kind of like, where do you want us to take this? What do you want to know?
Yeah.
How can we help? Maybe we just show up and we just record ourselves for 30 minutes.
I
Well,
love you, Jess. You're so
that
cool.
was our show.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
So that is the story. We don't know the future, but we're still here, and we're gonna
okay.
be trying to do
Yeah.
it maybe a little a little slower of a workflow, a little lower of a
Yeah.
workload, I should say.
Bringing down the pace
Bringing
a
it
little
down the
bit.
pace a little, but we're still here, and we'd love any of your insights or thoughts or input on what you'd like to hear about, and we can talk about it. If you've been watching us, we so appreciate you. So thank you for watching us in this past whole year. Congratulations, happy anniversary, Jess. And
Happy anniversary, Shell.
thank you. And to the next season, we shall see. Thanks again for watching.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.